Hello everyone, today is 21st of November, now it's 9:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with this report from RIA Novosti that, according to Bloomberg, by the way, this information not yet officially confirmed by Russian side, but according to Bloomberg, Kiev regime first time targeted strike deep inside Russian territory with British Storm Shadow missiles. Videos are circulating on internet, and I saw at least a couple of those videos when you can see some explosions and you can see sound of missile strikes. Reports are that from 10 to 14 Storm Shadows were launched to strike deep into Kursk region of the Russian Federation, and it seems like Russian air defense systems were unable to intercept majority of these missiles, and their Saturn facility was targeted, if true, by the way, obviously, because yet again there was no official confirmation, at least for this moment, from Russian side that strike with Storm Shadows had happened. But I think this information is actually true. I believe in this report, and this is second time that NATO, formerly Kiev regime, in reality NATO, strike deep inside Russian territory in internationally recognized borders. No reports, no detailed information for now about casualties or level of damage that was done with these Storm Shadow strikes. Maybe we'll learn some more about it later on, and of course I will share additional information on my Telegram channel and next updates. But what is important, obviously, is what Moscow gonna do about this long-range strikes that are becoming kind of routine now, right? Daily routine. And as far as I understand, yet again, formerly Kiev regime has dozens and dozens of ATACMS, US-made ATACMS, ballistic missiles, British-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles, French-made Scalp-PG cruise missiles, possibly some other long-range weapon systems. I would not be surprised at all if we will see strikes deep into Russian territory in the upcoming days with German Taurus long-range missiles also. So main question is now what Moscow is going to do about it, if anything. And well, I mentioned yesterday in update that on my Patreon and Boosty pages, I shared my take on potential Russian response if such a development will take place, and I don't really have much to add. But if it was up to me, I will at least cut diplomatic ties with countries that are basically involved directly in these strikes. In this particular case, Storm Shadows are British missiles, so I would cut diplomatic ties with UK. Just recently there was ATACMS used to strike deep into Russian territory, those missiles made by US, so I would cut diplomatic ties with US. That's at least what I would do, right? And I will cut diplomatic ties with France also, because as far as I understand, French Scalp-PGs will be used also to strike deep into Russian territory in internationally recognized borders, and maybe Scalp-PGs already were used also, right? And there are many other ways that Moscow may react, but I don't think there is any point really to play this guessing game. We will find out if there will be any Russian retaliation for these actions. This act of war, basically, that's what it is. This strikes deep into Russian territory is an act of war committed by US and British leadership, French leadership, if Scalp-PGs also were used. Probably Russian leadership is working on some steps, and In upcoming days, we will find out what those steps are. Today, by the way, these early hours of this morning, Russian armed forces launched a number of missiles, long-range missiles, to conduct these precise strikes into Kyiv-controlled territory. I reported about it on my Telegram channel and also on my X account. And dear friends, if you are on X, consider to subscribe to my page, because lately I become quite active on X platform, also formerly Twitter. And well, that's the information that I posted this morning. It is reported that our Black Sea Fleet ships launched caliber cruise missiles at the targets in the Kyiv-controlled territory. These missiles at the time were in air, although for this moment we know that there was explosions in Dnipropetrovsk region, in Poltava region, around Kyiv region and Kyiv, and there possibly maybe some missiles still are in the air on their way to their targets. And not just caliber missiles were launched, but also Russian Tu-95 strategic bombers deployed Kh-101 cruise missiles, and the reports were that MiG-31 Russian fighters launched Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. Also, this is of course preliminary data information that was available on the Russian segment of internet. Defense Ministry did not yet share with public information about this strike, and as I already mentioned, there was explosions in Dnipropetrovsk, Poltava, and some other areas that temporarily still controlled by Zelensky's regime. But this is, I don't think this is a retaliation for these long-range strikes that NATO member states and Kyiv regime are conducting with their Storm Shadows and ATACMS. Retaliation for that probably will follow in a couple of days, maybe even weeks. We cannot know for sure. But yet again, question is, will Russia deter collective Western ruling class from further escalation, which is very important because I believe, and I spoke about this on my Patreon and Boosty, I spoke about on my updates on YouTube and Rumble also, that if Russia will not retaliate strongly on this new level of escalation by the Western ruling class, then I'm afraid next step that West will conduct will be nuclear escalation. And they are already preparing ground for that. Because if you notice, if you remember a couple of days ago, and in last several months actually, I reported a number of times about a topic that Kyiv regime is working on creation of the dirty bomb, plans to deploy nuclear weapons, plans to become nuclear, and all this topic, by the way, actively discussed by Western media. Right? And whenever Western propaganda outlets are pushing certain narratives, you know for sure that that's exactly the direction that Western ruling class is moving. So I think if Russia will not stop Western ruling class right now with a strong retaliation, then most likely in a couple of months' time we will face a new reality when collective Western Kyiv regime will try to blackmail Russia or threaten Russia with their nuclear weapons that formerly Kyiv regime will develop. In reality, of course, these dirty bombs will be created with active participation of the NATO countries, and who knows, maybe number of such dirty bombs already been created, and who knows, maybe with close lines of communication, Russia already being threatened with the nukes. I don't know, but I'm afraid that's the next level of escalation that Western ruling class most likely is willing to take if they are not stopped right now. Mark my words, dear friends. Give it another 2-3 months, and topic. We're not gonna hear no more about F-16s, Storm Shadows, ATACMS, and that kind of stuff. We will start receiving news on every other day about risks that Kyiv regime may deploy nuclear weapons if Russia will not withdraw its forces, and if Russia will not do this and that. That's what is going to happen, and therefore I think it is very vital. It is vital to stop Western ruling class right now with whatever means necessary. Because it is obvious that they have no reverse gear, by the way. They will go all the way as long as they are escalating with impunity. That's my take. But first step in this retaliation, in my personal opinion, should be cut off diplomatic ties with at least US, UK, and France. And if Taurus missiles are deployed with Germany also. Maybe Moscow considering that, maybe not. Yet again, we will find out, by the way, we will find out. At this point, I guess many citizens of Russia are a bit frustrated because very strong statements were made in prior of these long-range strikes on Russia, and probably there was expectations that this time, if such strikes will take place, Russia will retaliate straight away strongly, and Russia will do this and that. And it's like 48 hours at least passed since the first attack with the Western long-range weapons deep into Russian territory in internationally recognized borders, and nothing had happened, right, in terms of retaliation. While collective West is further escalating, and now we are receiving news that Storm Shadows were deployed to also strike deep into Russia. And I guess these long-range strikes on Russian territory will become, kind of routine that happens every now and then. Yet again, if Moscow will not retaliate in such a way that will actually stop Western ruling class from further escalations, because next level of escalation definitely going to be nuclear. They are already preparing ground for nuclear blackmail of Russia with their Ukrainian nuclear weapons, right? If you remember, just recently, Times, British article, come up with their information that potentially Kyiv regime may create several hundred low-yield atomic bombs, right? So yes, we will find out. We will find out, by the way. TASS news agency is reporting that Sergei Narishkin, head of Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, stated that attempts of NATO member states to participate in strikes deep into Russian territory will met strong response from Russia. Okay, yet another statement of such a kind. Okay, too many statements, man. Actions need to follow through, otherwise statements on its own. At some point, if actions are not in place, just statements are losing meaning at one point, and I guess we are now in that situation when it's probably better not to make any statements no more, because people are struggling to take those statements seriously. People inside Russia and outside of Russia. You tell me what is your take, dear friends, but that's the feeling that I have. That's how I see the picture. Some real steps are needed to deter Western ruling class from further escalation. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, yet again, by the way, what I just said about next level of escalation, that the Western ruling class will most likely go nuclear if Russia will not stop them now. Well, that's exactly what is going to happen, because, as I said, Western media is actively laying down ground for that, right? And we have a report from Express media outlet now, which is stating that Trump may actually give a Kyiv regime nuclear weapons once in office. So let's go through this news. Donald Trump, who won the US presidential election, may secretly transfer nuclear weapons to Kyiv, the British Express newspaper writes. The deal can be done very cowardly, and suddenly Ukraine will become very strong. Zelensky can say, we have nuclear weapons. If you attack us, we will bomb Moscow, said the military expert Nicholas Drummond in an interview with this outlet. And well, I don't think US will transfer its nuclear weapons to Zelensky's regime, formally Zelensky's regime, in reality to US military personnel that are operating in Kyiv-controlled territory. But what is going to happen is that US, UK, France, they will actively participate in development of domestically built atomic bombs in Ukraine. And as Times reported, by the way, just a week ago, approximately, there are quite a volume of different isotopes of plutonium in Kyiv-controlled territory, some other radioactive materials that actually can be used to create not modern hydrogen bombs, but you know, old type of atomic bombs, right? And I'm afraid that's the direction that West is planning to go if Western ruling class is not stopped right now. I hope Moscow understands this. I hope they understand that they have to stop Western ruling elites now before all this situation become even more dangerous, right? RT is reporting that Kremlin rules out freezing Ukraine conflict. Okay, we already heard such statements earlier, but yet again, press spokesman of the Russian president repeated his previous takes on that. Any proposals involving a freezing of the Ukraine conflict are unacceptable to Russia, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told journalists on Wednesday. He was responding to an article published by the Reuters, which discussed options for ending the hostilities between Russia and Ukraine. The outlet suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin was open to negotiate a ceasefire with the incoming US President Donald Trump, and that Moscow and Kyiv could soon negotiate a freezing of the conflict, as well as the establishment of a demilitarized zone and some sort of exchange of territories, namely the Kursk and Kharkov regions. While Putin has repeatedly stated that Moscow was open to talks and negotiations, Peskov noted that he has also insisted that any option of freezing this conflict will not work for us, and said it is important for us to achieve our goals, which are well known to everyone. Okay, yet another statement from Kremlin, you know. Okay. Argumenty Factory reports, by the way, that Russian armed forces liberated Ilinka settlement in a DPR. Let me show you on the map this settlement. This is not far away from Kurakhova, on opposite side of water reservoir there. So this is Kurakhova, by the way, and Russian armed forces are conducting operations in central parts of Kurakhova right now, central and southern. And this is Ilinka settlement on opposite side of this water reservoir. So Ilinka is liberated, and according to latest reports, this Nova Ilinka settlement is in gray zone, disputed between the sides, and Russian DRGs are operating in vicinity of Birisky settlement. So on the ground, Russian forces continue to improve their positions in a number of directions, not just in southern Donetsk sector, not just in Pokrovsk sector, but in other sectors also. And for example, we have this report from Vzгляд News paper that Russian armed forces establish control over the central parts of Chizov Yar. So let's go to Chizov Yar. Let me find it first. It should be somewhere here, by the way. And that's it. So this is Chizov Yar, by the way. Settlement, not far away from Bakhmut, which is here. Right, this is Bakhmut and this is Chizov Yar. And as you can see, dear friends, almost 50% of these settlements right now is in a gray zone, and Russian media is reporting that actually Russian forces are in control of these territories. So yes, according to this map, for example, yes, Russian troops are in control of central parts of Chizov Yar. I guess it will not take long. It will not take long before this town, Chizov Yar, will become under full Russian control. Progress on the ground, as I said, continues all along the front line, and we have RIA Novosti's report also that Russian armed forces finished neutralization of the encircled grouping of forces of the Kiev regime in Kursk salient. In Olgovka forestry, there was reports earlier about encirclement of this Ukrainian grouping of forces in this forestry. This is the area, by the way, that we are talking about. I shared on my Telegram a number of videos when Kiev regime troops are trying to run away from this area, and they were targeted by Russian troops. So this area was encircled, clearing operation was underway, and this morning I shared on my Telegram video of capture the POWs of Kiev regime. Number of military personnel of Kiev regime lay down arms and surrender and save the lives, and whoever refused to do so, I guess, were neutralized, because Russian media is reporting that that territory is under full Russian control now. And progress of the Russian troops in Kursk salient area continues also. Progress of Russian counter-terrorist operation. And dear friends, until now, no one has seen any North Korean troops in that part of the Kursk region. And if you remember, Washington used as a justification for its for lifting restrictions on long-range strikes deep into Russian territory, this presence of North Korean troops there. And where are they? Are they invisible or what? Of course, that was a false narrative, by the way, from very beginning, and I was sharing my take on the situation, and I guess I was correct, right? Russia never needed no North Korean troops to participate in Russian military operations, and Western ruling class, just Western so-called elites or Western propaganda outlets, they created this narrative, they pushed this narrative, and then they used it. Then they use it to justify this next level of escalation with their long-range strikes deep into Russia. That's how they operate, by the way. RT is reporting that Biden wants to forgive Ukraine's debt. Outgoing US President Joe Biden has decided to write off about $4.7 billion in taxpayers-funded loans to Ukraine as a part of a broader effort to bolster Kyiv before President-elect Donald Trump takes office next year. Okay, another 4.7 billion was gifted to Zelensky and his criminal associates from US taxpayers' money. At this point, there is, I mean, we can only report on that, right? Because there is no point to comment really on these developments, because if US citizens don't care that their funds are used this way, then what we can do about it, right? Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that Belarusian TV, by the way, reported that Western ruling class is planning to attack Belarus in its southern western regions. So that's quite interesting news, isn't it? So I have to translate this for more details. So opposition forces, so-called opposition forces, and their Western curators have developed a plan to seize Belarus, suggesting an invasion of their southwestern regions by Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine with their participation of armed groups. The state-run ONT TV channel reported, according to available information, their opposition, together with the Western countries or Western curators of theirs, has developed a plan to seize Belarus. It is assumed that armed groups will enter the southwestern regions of their country, in particular in their Kobrin district and their Polesi. RIA Novosti reports, according to report, their active phase of their plan will begin with their crossing of a border by members of the Belarusian Volunteer Corps, as well as the formations and banners from, as well as groups, these terrorist groups from Poland and Lithuania. These actions will be accompanied by support for pro-Western cells already operating inside the country. It is noted that for the implementation of the seizure, the West has identified 4 key territories at the junction of the borders of Belarus, Ukraine, and Poland. This implies coordinated actions by their opposition forces and international actors to destabilize the situation in the Republic. This was reported by Belarusian TV. Of course, I cannot confirm or deny any of these claims. But is it possible that Western ruling class will use their assets to conduct such a provocation against Belarus and obviously against Russia? Yes, it is possible. Yes, it is possible. Western ruling class already demonstrated many times that, I mean, they are capable of anything, really, until they are unchecked, until Russia will, before Russia will smash the faces of those animals that are in charge of collective West. Let's be real here, by the way. Until Russia will smash the fucking faces of the Western ruling elites, they're gonna continue escalation. And they're gonna sign up for any sorts of provocation. Absolutely anything. Including in the direction of Belarus. That's how it is, man. And I hope Moscow understands this. I can see that Russian leadership don't want escalations. They are trying, they're exercising this restraint for so long, and they are acting as adults, and I can understand everything, right? But at some point, you have to realize that no matter how responsibly you are behaving, when you are facing absolutely responsible extremist forces, at some point you just have to take action that will neutralize them all, right? At some point you just have to do it, no matter how much you don't want to see further escalation. Either you are dealing with those extremists and bringing them to the senses and forcing to act responsibly, or you are in a big trouble, because they're not gonna stop. They're just not gonna stop. And if anyone has any doubts about that, then I don't know, man. I really have Mount Everest there to sell to that person. RT is reporting that Israel is about to annex the West Bank, according to Seymour Hersh. Why am I not surprised to see such a headline? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government intends to announce their formal annexation of the West Bank in their coming weeks. A source has told their Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh. According to Hersh, Israel has been fortified by bombs and funding from the Washington, and is ramping up the expulsion of Palestinians from the northern Gaza to the south of the enclave. Meanwhile, the religious parties that dominate Netanyahu's cabinet are demanding full control over both occupied Palestinian territories, West Bank and the Gaza Strip. I was told, and then quote, by the way, I was told this week by the well-informed Washington official that the Israeli leadership will formally annex the West Bank in the very near future, perhaps in 2 weeks. That's what Seymour Hersh is writing. In their hope, and this action will be done in the hope that this decisive step will end once and for all any talks of two-state solution and will convince some in the skeptical Arab world to reconsider financing the planned reconstruction of Gaza. Hersh wrote in an article on his Substack on Wednesday. If true, the move would coincide with the last few weeks of US President Joe Biden's administration and create a new reality on the ground by the time President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January. So we might see further escalation in the Middle East in very short time, which is unfortunate, by the way. But yet again, I said many times before that Western ruling class wants to see regional war in the Middle East because they want to shut down navigation in the Persian Gulf and through Hormuz Strait to cut off China from Middle Eastern energy sources, and they will go on any provocation. They will embolden Netanyahu and his government to do literally anything that will help Western ruling class to achieve their goals, which is to provoke regional war, right? So therefore, I have no doubts that Seymour Hersh, and first of all, he is one of the best journalists for our times, if not the best, and I have no doubts in his reports. Unfortunately, in upcoming weeks, probably we will see next level of escalation in the Middle East also. RT is reporting that a Chinese ship suspected in a Baltic Sea cable damage. In previous updates, I reported that some communication cables were damaged under the Baltic Sea that connects Baltic states and Finland with Germany. So now we have these reports that Chinese registered a merchant vessel en route from Russia to Egypt has come under suspicion of possible involvement in the damage to data cables under the Baltic Sea. Multiple media outlets have claimed their BSC East-West interlink, which connects Lithuania to Sweden, was seriously damaged on Sunday, while their Sea Lion 1 fiber optic undersea cable from Finland to Germany was cut on Monday morning. The cause of both incidents is so far unknown. The Swedes are taking a hard look at the Chinese vessel. The Financial Times quoted an anonymous source as saying on Wednesday, maritime trackers identified their ship as Yipeng 3, owned by Ningbo Yipeng Shipping. The Danish defense can confirm that we are present in an area near the Chinese Xi Jinping 3. The defense ministry in Copenhagen said in a cryptic X post on Wednesday. The Danish defense currently has no further comments, although, by the way, on several channels today morning I see reports that Danish Navy actually seized this Chinese ship, Yipeng 3, although of course we need more time, and maybe we will hear some official statements on that. Initially, of course, everybody blamed Russia, as always. I mean, whenever anything happens anywhere in the collective West, first is Russia to be blamed, right? But when time goes, things are changing, right? And now Chinese ship is being blamed. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, and I don't even care, man. Let's be honest here. I don't give a damn about communication cables of Baltic states, Sweden, Germany, Finland. I just don't care, man. These countries are acting extremely hostile towards us. They want to kill us all, right? Let's be real here. Western ruling class, Western ruling elites, and unfortunately, majority of public in Western countries wants to see us all dead. That's how I think. And therefore, I don't give a damn about those countries no more. You know, I'm not gonna play the diplomatic games. You wanna be me, killed, so I want you to be killed then. That's how it is, man. I don't have no sympathies to my enemies, man. I want all my enemies to be dead. That's it, period. RT is reporting that Russia reveals a retaliation for Western seizure of its assets. Russia will launch retaliatory measures which mirror the West's expropriation of their country's sovereign assets. Finance Minister Anton Silvanov has stated in an interview with Russia One TV on Wednesday. Silvanov said that Russia will use income from the frozen assets of the Western investors. Their measure will be taken in response to implementation of unfriendly actions by Western countries, he added. And as far as I understand, there is enough assets, Western assets in Russia, to basically mirror the actions of their collective West, right? So quite understandable steps. I have no questions on that. Your enemies are stealing your assets. You should not tolerate that. You should take action, obviously, and hit their enemies as hard as you can. Also interesting news that completely domestically built without any imported parts, Tu-214 aircraft passenger plane has conducted its first flight, which is great, of course. This is the plane, by the way. Wonderful plane, and I hope this project is going to be a big success, not just domestically on domestic market, but also hopefully on an international market. And there is opening, by the way. Boeing is about to go down completely, I guess. Airbus would not be able to build more planes that they are already building. They might increase production just a bit, but not significantly. They are already working on a maximum of their capacity, Airbus corporation, and therefore, of course, Russian companies have a opportunity here, opening to enter the market. Well, while there is a high demand on the planes, right, on the passenger planes, and achieve significant success. And Russia is able right now to, and in short time, to deliver to the world market several medium and long range passenger planes, right? Superjet MS-21 Tu-214, which is great, by the way. So, well done with this success there. And finally, I will report this news that Bitcoin reached new historical heights, 97,000, by the way, $97,000. And if I'm not mistaken, at some point it reached even higher than that. But well, it is a big deal, obviously, because capitalization of cryptos is increasing on an unprecedented scale right now. And I guess this is somewhat connected with the victory of Donald Trump in recent presidential elections, because seems like he is quite friendly towards blockchains technology, and maybe US will under presidency of Trump, maybe US will heavily invest in Bitcoin to create its reserves. And of course, that will, if that's gonna be the case, then of course, price on Bitcoin may even, I don't know, double or something. So there is a big potential actually to, for further growth, I guess. And this is it for now. This is it for now. Relatively long update, but hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. We can at least try to influence algorithm, although unfortunately we are failing day after day after day, because especially on YouTube, by the way, because this algorithm is, I mean, something I don't know, man. It's crazy what is happening on YouTube. But at least we can try, isn't it? So if you can, please click that like button, leave some commentary. You can just, wish me a good day. That will work also, as I wish you a good day. And if you like my work, if you want to support her, you can do it through PayPal, Boosty platforms, or you can subscribe to my Patreon page and the page on Boosty. All the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day and take care.